Okay, Women Are Grounded. I am so excited. We are here today with attorney Vanette Augustin. How you doing, Miss Vanette?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. We are so glad to have you. Can you start by telling us a little about you and your journey to becoming a lawyer?
Sure. Well, I practice primarily in Orlando, Florida, and I also do Seminole County as well. I practice immigration, family, and estate planning. And my journey to becoming a lawyer, believe it or not, I always wanted to be Matlock. So
Me
I
too. Me too.
show up with my ta-da evidence. And so from a little girl, I always wanted to be an attorney. And so that was just the plan to do what I needed to do to get to where I was going. And so I took the steps of being able to do that. And now I realize there's no such thing as Matlock because what's on TV is not reality. But that was my childhood dream, was always to be Matlock, to be able to get to become the attorney that I thought I should be. But along the process, I learned to be the attorney that was fit for me in carving out who I am in this industry.
Amen. And what was your biggest inspiration aside from like Matlock? Like what was your biggest inspiration and motivation?
Just me being the best me. So I grew up in foster care and I moved around a lot. And so the biggest motivation for me was wanting a better life for me and wanting to push the envelope to do something different, because I was always told what I should do.
Amen.
You know, foster kids shouldn't, you should strive to go to work for McDonald's, or not. There's anything wrong with those jobs, but it's like the expectancy of you being in a higher, what society would consider higher position, is really not there. And so I always wanted to push the envelope to be different. I wanted my life to be different.
Amen.
And so I decided from a young kid that I was going to be different. I wanted to live better. I was tired of moving around from home to home and figuring out who wanted me, who didn't want me. And I figured being an attorney would be my way of being able to provide stability for me, and to just accomplish something that would make me quiet everybody else. At one point, it was more of proving not just to myself, but for everybody else that I can do it.
Amen. Well, first of all, congratulations on becoming an attorney, because that is quite an accomplishment in itself. I was not aware of your childhood, and I want to thank you for sharing that, because there could be a young girl or young man watching this video in the same position, moving home to home in the foster system and being told some of the very same things that you were told at that time. And hopefully they can see you and the fact that you were able to rise above your circumstances and to be able to do this for yourself. So thank you again for sharing that. My next question is, when you decided that you were going to do this, did you find it difficult gaining support from the people that were around you?
I did. I mean, I had to kind of be my own cheerleader. Then, so sometimes you may want something, but other people focus on limitations. So I had to be my own cheerleader to be able to say, I can do this. And there were so many obstacles that fall in the way. So when I got my first semester in law school, I failed it. And so my academic advisor, who was supposed to be advising me, told me I had gone far enough. I should quit. The dean of the school said, you need to leave because you're not law school material. And so the people who I was looking for support weren't really supporting me. But I had one person, Ms. Desiree. She told me, Vanette, if you want this, you can do it. She was a study advisor at the school, and she walked me through, and I made it through. So I would say she and my girls, I have two girls, my little babies at the time, they always were supportive of mom. But the majority of people it's more so, girl, you can't do that. You were a foster baby. You need to just settle for what you can. And I had to kind of push through that. And then when I graduated law school, I failed the bar exam by 2.5 points. And at that point, it was like, oh, you've gone far enough. But I'm like, no, I just need to study, do it again. And then the second time I had it. So I've had a lot of people tell me what I couldn't do, but I held on to the few people like the Mama Sue's, the Mother Murphy, and who were in the corner to be able to tell me, you got this. And so it wasn't a big crowd, but those were the people that to this day still encourage me. To this day, I can go sit with Mama Sue and chat.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So give it up for Mama Sue.
Yes, for hours. But so I just had to figure out how to silence the negative and focus on the positive.
I really hope that women or any men who are listening to this podcast later will hone in on what you just said, because sometimes you have to see yourself differently than what other people around you will see you. And thank God for Miss Desiree, because all it takes is just that one person sometimes. So thank God for her that you had that encouragement at the time, and that you had a determination and a drive that you were going to make it in spite of. Because I think that's why I asked this question, because it doesn't matter whether it's doctor, lawyer, real estate agent. I have noticed that the women on this platform have all said the same thing, that when they set out to do something that they felt was bigger than themselves, that they did not have a lot of the support that they needed. And I think that that's very unfortunate. And I think that that's a common thread that we all share, that we were surrounded by people who didn't necessarily push us or believe in us, but some kind of way we were still able to rise above that and to get it done anyway. So again, congratulations to you for making it to where you are. Now, at this point, I would like to ask, what advice can you give someone else that's trying to do the same thing, having heard, some of the complexities of how difficult your journey was?
Well, I would say, first and foremost, figure out what you want, right? First and foremost, decide who you want to be, because society will tell you, here's what you're supposed to be based on your class or where you're from. So you have to decide who you want to be. And then when you get in the field, you have to decide what you want out of that field and make it work. So when I first started law, I didn't want to work for a big firm because I didn't want to feel like I was somebody's property. So there was so many hours working. I wanted to do it on my own. So I decided to do my own practice because I wanted to help the people who I felt should be helped. And I wanted to be able to manage my time, still be involved in my family's life. So I had to sit and figure out, what do I want? That meant I wasn't going to be starting out making $200,000-$300,000 a year, but I would still be able to provide for my family, which is what my practice does. I'm still able to help the people I want to help, but at the same time, I'm carving out that journey. So I would say you have to figure out what you want out of life. And once you decide that, figure out who are the people that's going to be in your corner, and recognize it's not going to be a whole bunch. You may have 1 or 2 cheerleaders, and then figure out what resources you need to get to where you need to go. Because with Desiree, she showed me the tools I needed to be successful in law school. I didn't know that, but I had to go figure out where are the resources. And so once you figure out what you want, how do I locate the resources? How do I obtain those resources? And then who are my cheerleaders in my corner? I think those would be, you have all the tools you need to get to where you need to go. Because when you're having those days where I can't do it, then you have that cheerleader who can say, yes, you can. So I think that's where anybody who wants to be successful in anything, I think if you do those things, then you'll be successful.
Now, can you share with us once again your area of practice and how people can go about obtaining your services?
Okay, so I practice everything family, so custody support, divorce, adoptions, name changes, immigration, relative petitions, asylums, and then estate planning, trust, creating wills, living wills, all of that. And if anybody wants to get in contact with me, you can contact my office. It's 407-706-9592, or you can reach me on my website, jpaugustinelawfirm.org.
Awesome. Well, I don't know if there's anything more to be said after that. We want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on and share with the Women of Grounded. We have this grounded coffee mug that we're going to be sending you to let you know how much we appreciate you. And once again, you know, just your story is going to inspire so many people. So thank you for pouring into the Women of Grounded.
Thank you for having me.